Phone lines are open, 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. I just want to go over a couple things real quick. Windy City Short Sales, you know.
Love him. Michael Jenkins.
And the crew over there.
Absolutely.
Referred me a lady, Rafaela, trying to buy a home. Working with her to get pre-qualified, and then Mike's going to find her a home out of his foreclosure pre-approved short sale list.
Okay.
Because you've got the unpre-approved short sale list, which is just an absolute train wreck. And then you've got a pre-approved short sale list, which are homes that are ready to roll. And we're hoping to bring an attorney on here who specializes in foreclosures and short sales.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Well, yeah. Just closed a loan yesterday, and like the tooth extraction that I had to go through to get this loan done. So
it's not easy.
It's not easy. So if you're a real estate agent, a homeowner, the people that you want to call, the guy you want to call is Michael Jenkins. He's located at 877-303-SHORT. That's his phone number. You can also go to townstone.com, TOWNSTONE.com to get all of Mike's and all the rest of the advertisers' contact information. You can also go to WindyShortSales.com. That's 3 W's, WindyCityShortSales.com. My bad. 3 W's, WindyCityShortSales.com to get all their contact information. Essentially what he does is he goes in and his firm does all the negotiating, phone calls, talking. And, you know, listen, if you want to spend 10 to 12, 14, 20 hours of your life doing it, go ahead. Okay, but Mike does it. It's a short sale in a box. He does it for a living. He knows what he's doing. And he takes care of his clients.
That's what I was going to say, like to the general public, because I am dealing right now with a situation where my buyers are working with a real estate agent that does not specialize in short sales and foreclosures, and they're buying a short sale, and it's an absolute train wreck because she doesn't know at all what she's doing. When you're dealing with a short sale or foreclosure, if you're in a situation where you're not making payments, whatever, and you're going to go into a short or a foreclosure, you have to hire a short or foreclosure expert because a regular realtor does not know the
ins and outs.
No.
And you also need to get a good attorney, and we have a good attorney on the phone. Greg, how are you?
Very good. Yourself, sir?
I am fantastic. Thanks for taking the time. Greg's got twins, or is it triplets?
Triplets.
Wow. God bless you.
Yeah, a 16-year-old.
Yeah, good for you. Whoops.
How old are the triplets?
13 months.
Yeah,
wow.
That's bad. That's bad rhythm there, Greg. All right, we got to get you a Bee Gees album. Start getting you back into the groove, if you know what I mean.
Trust me, it's all good.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so I know exactly what that means. Okay, so here's the situation. Greg specializes in handling foreclosures and short sales. He was on the other side of a deal that I just closed Friday, okay? And I just want to give a little background. Then I'm going to throw it over to Greg to talk about the legal side of this because I think people will find it fascinating, right? I don't want to get into names of companies in case I upset somebody. So Company A owned the mortgage on the home that my client just closed yesterday.
Okay.
The owners that were living in the home that Company A had the paper went into foreclosure. So Company A had this paper, and then Company A sold a group of loans, a batch of homes, to Company B that Greg represents. Okay, right, Greg, so far?
Correct.
All right, so Company B bought, let's just keep it simple, stupid, 100 homes in this area, okay? And they bought it for a discounted price, Kate, because Company A just said, give me $10 million and take these homes off my hands because I got a liquidity problem. Give me the dough and you deal with it.
Sure.
Okay? At the time that happened, what should have happened, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the deed should have been transferred from Company A to Company B. Correct?
Well, what had happened was the foreclosure was still in process, and at the wrapping up of the transaction, the property went up for auction, and there were no third-party bidders at the auction, which meant the bank who had done the foreclosure was by default the successful bidder, which meant a shares deed was to issue to that particular lender.
And when was that?
That was
January?
I think it was January. That's correct.
Okay, so nobody bought this house at the auction. Okay, right. So B basically became owner of, bought it from A. So now Bank B is basically the owner. Okay, the deed never got recorded at that time or transferred, right?
Well, what happened was whenever there's a sheriff's auction, there's a local authority who issues these deeds, these sheriff's deeds, and the deed was in error made, conveyed title to the property back to the original we'll call it bank or lender that had begun the foreclosure process.
Bank A.
Right, and what should have happened was since Bank A had transferred their servicing rights to Bank B, the deed should have vested title in Bank B.
In January.
Correct.
And that didn't happen.
Did not happen.
Okay, so now we have a delay. Okay, we have a major problem. Okay, because now what should have happened didn't happen, and now we have new lending rules. I'm just trying to let everybody know, all the Michigas, that this guy was ready to go, Greg, my client, back in March.
Right.
I could
wow.
have closed. I could have had a human being, two human beings, with one, a human being in the process because the girl's pregnant. Okay, living in this home, and here's how crazy this whole thing is, everybody. Okay, living in this home, supporting the community, and I always said we got to keep people in their homes because it's better to have somebody in the home. Going out to Dominic's and buying food and going to the gas station, the dry cleaner, and doing all that stuff. The Ace and the Home
Sure.
Depot, right? Paying taxes.
Giving to the community.
Giving to the community. Now they have a home in this area, vacant, empty. It's a shell, which doesn't make any sense, Greg, right?
Not at all, especially when you consider the carrying costs that the real estate professionals have to bear the burden of in maintaining the property until we can get a live body in there.
So that one simple mistake delayed the entire process 3 months. 4 months, because we couldn't start the process. We couldn't do anything. 312-642-5600. You have any legal questions for a foreclosure expert who's a foreclosure attorney expert who's on the line with us, Greg. 312-642-5600. I went to the lender I wanted to take the loan to, and I specifically laid out all the details of the transaction, and I had to get, Greg and I were faxing back and forth all these pages with the deed and when it was recorded and when it was conveyed, da-da-da. Problem is, 90 days started from when owner B, Bank B, recorded the deed that accidentally went back to A.
Correct. The deed had been re-recorded to Bank B to correct the vesting of title.
Right.
And that started our clock over again.
Right.
Wow.
Now, even though I had full documentation and complete, and this is where the craziness in lending breaks down, I had complete explanation as to the simple mistake that was happening, but nobody would budge. Right, Greg?
Correct. In fact, my client, and I know it's kind of water under the bridge now, but I felt that we properly had the 90 days had properly gone by on account of when title should have vested in my client, and we even had proper documentations from the federal government that said when you have a transfer of servicing rights, the 90 days begins the date the servicing transfers. In this case, we ended up losing out, even though I think both sides of the equation had a proper argument.
Yes. We were ready to roll to get this thing done. So everything's delayed another 90 days. Okay, then I laid everything out to the lender, right? So all of a sudden what happens? We have to date the documentation on the 91st day, right? They said, well, you could start on the 90th day. I'm like, yeah, right? I'm not starting that. So 91st day, we got all the documents dated. We email everything.